The following is a list and assessment of sites and places associated with King Arthur and the Arthurian legend in general. Given the lack of concrete historical knowledge about one of the most potent figures in British mythology, it is unlikely that any definitive conclusions about the claims for these places will ever be established. Nevertheless, it is both interesting and important to try to evaluate the body of evidence which does exist and examine it critically. The earliest reference to Arthur is in Aneirin's poem Why Gododdin. While his fame may have increased in the intervening years, the facts about his life have become less discernible. The earliest association with Arthur of many of the places listed is often surprisingly recent, with most southern sites association based on nothing more than the toponymic speculations of recent authors with a local prejudice to promote. Burial places. Mount Etna, the burial place of King Arthur by Floriante Florate, Guillaume de Torroella, Gervase of Tilbury. Wormelo Tump, the burial place of King Arthur's son Amra according to local legend. Unfortunately, the mound was flattened to widen the road in 1896. It has been suggested that the burial place of Tristan is in Douarnenez and that of the King Mark on the Menez Hom, a small hill in the parish of Dino. Another contender for Arthur's resting place is the Eildon Hills, Roxburghshire. Amidst the ruins of Glastonbury Abbey are tombstones claiming to mark the final resting place of Arthur and Guinevere. Glastonbury, which was once surrounded by water, is believed by some to be the Isle of Avalon, the place where the dying Arthur was destined to be healed. If this is the case, it follows that Arthur would be brought to the abbey to receive medical attention. However, Arthur's wounds were fatal, and therefore he was buried near the abbey, south of the Lady Chapel. It is said that in the 12th century, monks who wanted to raise money for the abbey dug up 2 sets of bones from that location and moved them into the abbey in order to attract pilgrims. The bones were supposedly unearthed within a large oak coffin inscribed with the words, "Here lies Arthur buried in Avalon." Arthur's courts. The following are real places which are clearly identifiable in a text and which are mentioned in Arthurian legend and romance as being used by Arthur as a place to hold a court. In the romances, Arthur, like all medieval monarchs, moves around his kingdom. Caerleon on Usk in Newport in South Wales from Geoffrey of Monmouth. London in Geoffrey of Monmouth. Quimper in the Lancelot romance. Carlisle, Cumberland on the western edge of Hadrian's Wall. Carhaix in Les Premiers Fates du Roi Arthur. Cardigan in Création de Troyes. St. David's, one of Arthur's 3 courts in the Welsh Triads. Stirling is named in Beryl's 12th century romance of Tristan. Unidentified site Salywig in Cornwall. Perhaps the earliest known description of a location of an Arthurian court. Also in the Triads, Kelly Rounds near St. Mabon, Cornwall is cited as one of the potential sites. Penrhynid in the Welsh Triads is Arthur's northern court, possibly near Stranraer in Regard. Camelot. Various places which have been identified as the location of Camelot, including many of those listed above. Others include Tintagel Castle, Tintagel, Cornwall. Also the home of Merlin's Cave. Winchester is specifically described as being Camelot in Thomas Mallory. Camelon, near Falkirk, which was spelled Camelot prior to the 19th century. Cadbury Castle Hill Fort, referred to as the location for Camelot by John Leland in 1542. At the very south end of the church of South Cadbury standeth Camelot, sometime a famous Auna castle. The people can tell nothing but that they have heard Arthur much resorted to Camelot. A well on the ascent is known locally as Arthur's Well. The highest part of the hill is known as Arthur's Palace, these names being recorded as early as the late 16th century. Colchester, a town in Essex, England, has been cited as one of the potential sites of Camelot, though the name Camelot may be derived from Camelodunum, the Iron Age capital of the Trinovantes, and later the provincial capital of Roman Britannia. Its Essex location close to the east coast, and so very close to the earliest Anglo-Saxon settlement, places it in the wrong Anglo-Saxon kingdom. The ex-Roman fort of Camberglan on Hadrian's Wall, Campus Let in Glamorgan, Caerwent Llandmerlin Hill Fort near Caerwent, Camelford in Cornwall, Camelot in Brittany, Camlan Fort at Falkirk, Saltwell Park in Gateshead, Viriconium, Chard, Somerset, Graigcloyne near Lusvane, Camlet Moat near Trent Park by Enfield Chase, London, Slack near Huddersfield. Like Colchester, the Romans had a fort named Camelodunum there. Cadbury Roxburgh Castle in the Scottish borders, proposed by Alistair Moffat in his work Arthur and the Lost Kingdoms. Chester Castle in Chester, Avalon, Sicily, Glastonbury, the Isle of Arran, Isle d'Aval near Lannion, the city of Avalon in France. The island of Seine, a possible location of Avalon consistent with the theory of a northern Arthur, is the Roman fort of Abalava. Abalava, also called Avalana, was at the western end of Hadrian's Wall near the modern settlement of Borough by Sands, Cumbria. Reputed Arthurian battle sites. 12 of Arthur's battles were recorded by Nennius in Historia Britannicum. Battle at the mouth of the River Glen, possibly River Glen, Northumberland or River Glen, Lincolnshire. Battles of the River Dubglas in the region of Linwy. Guesses for the river include the River Trent of the Ankou. An alternative northern site is the Devil's Water at Linnels on Hadrian's Wall of the River Douglas, near Wigan. However, the strategic location of the River Douglas in Glen Douglas in Lennox, near the portage at Arica from Loch Long to Loch Lomond, overlooked by Ben Arthur, make it the most likely location. Battle of the River of the Basses, probably a reference to the base rock in the Firth of Forth, although possibly also relates to the Middle River Witham at Bassington, the homestead of Basses people. An alternative northern location is at Bassington on the River Aln in Northumbria, not far from the River Glen. Battle of Catcoy at Celadon, possibly Caledonian Woods in the Scottish lowlands. Battle of Fort Gannon, possibly the Binchester Roman fort, or Wedale in southern Scotland. Battle of the City of the Legion. Hypothesized sites for this battle include Cullion, also, according to Geoffrey of Monmouth, the site of Arthur's Court and Guinevere's Convent, Carlisle, Chester, York. Battle of Tobruk, possibly the mouth of the River Avon near Bowness, Scotland, or near Dumfries. Battle of Ainde, probably near Edinburgh, as maintained was another term for Edinburgh, although possibly at the Roman Fort Bremenium, near Rochester, Northumberland. Battle of Mons Badonicus c. AD 496. The date, location, and contestants of this battle are a matter of considerable debate. Hypothesized sites for Mons Badonicus include Bowden Hill in Linlithgow, http www.armadale.org, UK, Bowden, HTM and Biden in South Wales. Badbury Rings, an Iron Age hill fort. Bath of Salisbury Hill near Bath, suggested by Geoffrey of Monmouth. Buxton, a hilltop spa town and the site of a Roman bath. Linnington Castle. Bardon Hill. Battle of Camlan, possibly fought in South Somerset or at Camberglan near the western section of Hadrian's Wall. Alternatively, it has been speculated that could have been fought at Camelot in Falkirkshire, Camlan on Snowdon. Places with other associations to Arthurian legend. Alnwick Castle is a contender for Lancelot's Castle Joyous-Gard according to Mallory. The Castle of Joyous-Gard in La Forest New Bamborough Castle is an alternative contender to Alnwick Castle for Lancelot's Castle Joyous-Gard according to Mallory. Arthur's Seat, Arthur's Stone, Herefordshire. The convent at Amesbury in Wiltshire has been suggested as the place of banishment of Guinevere. Broceliande Forest is in Brittany. The Arthur's Cave, the Arthur's Castle and the Castle of Morgan in Huelgoat. The Merlins' Grave near Plounevez-Quintin. The Arthur's Hill, the Hill of Arthur's Horse near Guerin in the French Black Mountains. The Lake of Vivian and Lancelot in Bothten Valley, near Angus. Carlisle. In Mallory, Guinevere's affair with Lancelot was exposed at Carlisle and she was sentenced to death. Carmarthen was the birthplace of Merlin according to Geoffrey of Monmouth. The name Carmarthen is the anglicised form of the Welsh name for the town, Caerfyrddin, which means Merlin's fortress. There are many places surrounding Carmarthen with names associating it with Merlin such as Bryn Merlin, Merlin's Hill. Castledor is the Cornish castle where the story of Tristan is set. Carhaix is the city where Tristan got married. Dinas Emrys, Dumbarton Castle, Geoffrey of Monmouth's Alclud, King Arthur's Hall, an enclosure a henge situated on Bodmin Moor, Cornwall. Stonehenge is said to be the burial place of Ambrosius, Aurelianus and Eutha Pendragon. The Birth, near Baschurch in Shropshire, is reputed to be a possible burial place. Strait of Messina related to Morgan le Fay. Tintagel Castle in Cornwall and Duke Gorlois. Mount Etna related to Morgan le Fay.